Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. And coming soon, I will be launching a membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link, or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 178. The working title for today's episode is The Next 72 Hours. Recovering after you've given it your all. I don't know if I've mentioned it here, but I joined a new musical ensemble back in January. St. Xavier University is a mile from my house here in Evergreen Park, and there is a university chorale there, comprised of university students and alumni, university faculty and staff, and community members like me. A number of fellow musicians that I have sung with at different parishes here on the South Side are members of this ensemble. And one of my goals for 2026 was to step up my game, musically speaking. And so I joined the chorale in January at the start of the new semester. It's been a great experience, and I have enjoyed growing as a vocalist and also meeting great new people. And our spring concert was this past Friday. The 2 hours after we were all told to be there and before the concert were spent warming up and running through any trouble spots in the music. There were a number of parts that were difficult and complex or required a lot of breath support or a lot of sound, as it were. And during that rehearsal, our director said, don't spend all of what you have in rehearsal, meaning save some energy and breath and voice for the actual performance. Because yes, all of those commodities are finite. Energy, obviously, finite. Breath, yes, we can just take another breath in a minute, of course, but sustaining breath support to sing long phrases and also high notes when you're a soprano like me, all of that takes work, and the muscles used to do all of that get tired, and we can run out of the energy to support our breath too. And voice is absolutely finite. There are days when I attend and participate in or run meetings, and then I go and teach for 4 hours, and then I go to a rehearsal, and yes, the voice runs out. At the end of those days, my voice and I are both truly depleted. My director then amended his statement to say, in terms of energy and voice, never spend all that you have, even in performance. Because, he says, if you spend it all, it will take you 3 days to come back from that. He said, don't spend it all. In this case, it is voice and energy and breath. Don't spend it all. Because if you do, it'll take you 3 days to come back. So don't spend it all, especially not in rehearsal and even not in performance. And there's the point for today. There is his point. If you spend it all, metaphorically speaking, it takes 3 days to get it back. He was speaking to all of us with that statement, which I also find interesting. There are college students aged, late teens to early 20s. There are university alumni, faculty, and staff, and then there's community members. So the age range of the people in the room, where there were probably anywhere from 60 to 80 of us, is from approximately 20 to approximately 80 plus years of age. And honestly, that's still a universal piece of advice, that when we spend it all in terms of energy and focus and performance, or whatever it is for us, when we spend it all and have nothing left, replacing it is not a matter of an hour of rest or a night's sleep or drinking a glass of water or eating a snack. Gone is gone. Done is done. And per my director, it takes 3 days to build it back up. On average, of course, because for some of us, if we spend it all, it may take us more than 3 days to catch up. And some lucky few may not need quite so long. In related conversation last week, a friend was commenting that she needed 3 days to catch up after 3 days of rigorous travel. We call that re-entry, and I agreed wholeheartedly. In past articles, I've mentioned my theory that for every day of travel, we need at least a day of prep before and a day of catch-up and re-entry after arriving home to get ourselves back on track. And the point of all of this is to recognize that this occurs, to be aware of when we may have spent it all or spent most even, to know for ourselves what we need to do to recalibrate and get back on track, and then to actually take those steps. So let's put this in real life terms. I wrote this on a Sunday. And when I mentioned this quote to my husband that morning, when I was feeling very tired, but still needed to go and cantor 2 masses at a local parish because they hired me to be there, when I mentioned my director's quote, Greg said, 72 hours. And he is right, of course. I love it when I'm quoted back to me, and I also admit I need reminders. He was referencing that a few months ago, I wrote about the last 72 hours and how, at any moment, how we're feeling physically and emotionally are a product of our last 72 hours. But thinking of my director's quote, we also need to pay attention to and plan for the next 72 hours. So again, using my real life example, the concert was Friday night after a full work week and a presentation on Thursday night. And then Saturday, we drove to Michigan and back to be with my family. I promise you, I did not eat high quality food while we traveled. There was breakfast and a late lunch of fast food. I never drink enough water when we travel. And then there was some added family stress. So that Sunday morning, no wonder I was feeling tired. More importantly, though, looking ahead for the next 3 days, what was I going to do about it? I have recently written about self-care and also grace. I talk regularly about the importance of rest and sleep and the importance of routines for our survival and maintenance tasks because, again, all of these are vitally important. Depletion and spending it all occurs. Consider we have weekends for a reason. Somewhere along the way, smart humans realize that we humans need rest after working all week. We aren't meant to continue to spend it all. And of course, on that Sunday, my husband asked, when does the weekend begin? Because it had been such a busy one up to that point. But that is a topic for a future episode. In the same way that we identify how we are feeling right now as the product of our last 72 hours, we also can think, after doing hard things, I am tired and drained, and I can do things to help myself recover over the next 72 hours. Within 3 days and maybe sooner after taking those steps, I can expect to be back to normal, at least a normal level of energy and focus. I can feel back on track. Whatever that means for me and for you. Because we each need to know for ourselves what that looks and feels like. All right, so what have we learned today? Don't spend it all, whatever that is for you. Don't spend it all because it takes 3 days, give or take, to catch back up. If you do spend it all, don't expect success. if you try to spend it all again the next day, because there's not going to be anything left to spend. If you do spend it all or even just too much, be aware. Be aware of what that looks like and feels like to you. And then lower your expectations of yourself. Show yourself some grace and kindly and gently and compassionately endeavor to do the things that will help you refresh your energy and focus, your physical and mental wellness. So more importantly, be aware of what those next 72 hours look like for you and for me to get our energy and focus back. And do the work ahead of time so that you have the tools and knowledge in place to help yourself should that happen. Some of those tools may include grace, right? In my recent article and episode about grace from like a month ago, I reminded us all, you and me, to be more understanding with ourselves. Be merciful and lenient, right? Let ourselves off the hook. I was just going to share all of the synonyms for showing ourselves grace, but I think you guys get the picture. Also, a tool in our toolbox are our routines. We need to, and that's okay, we need to rely heavily on our routines, especially when things are spent, because those are the basics for survival for us. We need to make sure to complete those long designated daily tasks. Drink the water, take the supplements, eat the healthy breakfast, meditate, whatever that looks like for you, right? And get specific with your routines too with tools like meal planning and your packed goals around tracking wellness metrics like hydration and movement and sleep. And then a tool I've also spoke about recently of self-care. I hope you have that list for yourself that I suggested that you make. So when you wake up feeling depleted, knowing you spent all you had energy-wise, be ready to take the extra steps to intentionally take care of yourself. Take the nap, phone the friend, take the walk in the sunlight, order takeout instead of cooking. We know that a characteristic of amazing and high-performing people like you, my community, is to occasionally, or even often, spend it all. So let this article be the reminder to you and to me to be careful, to not spend it all, to be aware if we did, and to take the steps to bring us back to a smooth operating order in 72 hours. Support around getting things done without the expense of our own energy and focus is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thanks so much, and I will talk to you next week.